Hello and welcome in the online lecture series of Gyandut 2.0, that is an initiative by College Education Rajasthan for the benefit of the students. The present poem which I am going to explain is The Soul's Prayer, that is written by Indian poetess Sarojini Naidu. She was born in 1879 and died in 1949. She was an Indian political activist and poet. She was an important figure in the struggle for Indian independence. She is popularly known as the Nightingale of India or Bharat Kokila. The Soul's Prayer is a transcendental poem by Sarojini Naidu. The poem reveals Naidu's mystic vision about the problems of life and death. In the first half of the poem, the poetess asks God to give her the knowledge of life and death, and also asks him to make her his perfect child. In the second part of the poem or the prayer, the poetess describes how the God chastens or purifies or cleanses a soul. The text of the poem is in this way. The first stanza is: In childhood pride I said to thee, O thou who made me of thy breath, speak, Master, and reveal to me thine inmost laws of life and death. In the very beginning of the poem, we see Sarojini, the poetess, describes the mood of her childhood. She, in her mood of childhood, said to the God, O thou who made me of thy breath, who has given her birth, speak, Master, and reveal to me. She wants to know from the Almighty, thine means yours, inmost laws of life and death. She wants to know the innermost laws of life and death. The second stanza is: Give me to drink each joy and pain which thine eternal hand can meet, for my insatiate soul would drain earth's utmost bitter, utmost sweet. Give me to drink each joy and pain. She is ready to accept every joy and every pain which thine eternal hand can meet. Means give. Thine means yours. Eternal hand means the hand of God. She wants to accept every pain and every joy which God can give, for my insatiate soul would drain earth's utmost bitter, utmost sweet. She says that her soul is insatiate, her soul is dissatisfied, and she would drain, she would accept earth's utmost bitter thing and earth's utmost sweet thing. She is ready to accept the easy or hard situation in life. The third stanza is: Spare me no bliss, no pang of strife, withhold no gift or grief I crave, the intricate lore of love and life, and mystic knowledge of the grave. Spare me. She requests to God that God should not spare her bliss, means she wants to get every bliss or happiness or blessings. No pang of strife, She is also ready to accept the pains of strife means struggle. Withhold no gift. The God should not withhold any gift or grief which she craves, which she wants to get. The intricate lore of love and life. She wants to get or know the complex lore. Lore means song of love and life. She wants to know or get the complex song of love and life and mystic knowledge of the grave. She also wants to know the mystic knowledge of the grave. Grave means dead after death. She wants to get every situation, whether it is happiness or pain. She wants to get much love in life, and she also wants to know the mystic knowledge what happens after death. The next stanza is, Lord, thou didst answer stern and low, child, I will hearken to thy prayer, and thy unconquered soul shall know all passionate rapture and despair. So in this stanza we come to know that here God replies to the request of the poetess. She says, Lord, thou didst answer stern and low. God gave answer to her in a hard and low voice, child, I will hearken to thy prayer. God says to her that he will hear or listen to her prayer, and thy unconquered soul shall know all passionate rapture and despair. God says that her unconquered means that cannot be won soul shall know all passionate rapture. Rapture means happiness and despair. She will be able to get every situation, whether it is of happiness and despair, disappointment. The next stanza is, thou shalt drink deep of joy and fame, and love shall burn thee like a fire. God makes her believe that she would be able to drink deep of joy and fame. She will get the joys in life. She will also get fame in life, and love shall burn thee like a fire. Means she will also get much love in life, and pain shall cleanse thee like a flame. She will also get pain that will cleanse or purify her like a flame, to purge the dross from thy desire. Pain will purge her, purify her from the dross. Dross means unclean thing, from thy desire. From thy desire means God says to the poetess that the pain which he will give to her, that will purify her soul from the dross or ugliness of her desires. The next stanza is, so shall thy chastened spirit yearn to seek from its blind prayer release, and spent and pardoned, sue to learn the simple secret of my peace. The God says to the poetess that when her soul will be chastened or purified, when there will be no yearning of prayer or getting pains or joys in life, she would be free. Release means free, and spent and pardoned. when she will get all the situations, she would request to learn the simple secret of my peace. When she will enjoy, or she will know the joys and sorrows of life, after that she would not pray for anything. She would want to know the simple secret of my peace. My peace means she would only try to get the peace in her life. I, bending from my sevenfold height, will teach thee of my quickening grace. Life is a prism of my light, and death the shadow of my face. The God here says to the poet that he, bending from my sevenfold height, bending from my sevenfold height means from far away, will teach thee of my quickening grace. God then will teach to her his quickening grace. Quickening grace means God will grace to her. Life is a prism of my light. He says that the life is a prism or reflection or figure of his life, and death the shadow of my face. Death is the shadow of my face means death is the shadow of his face means life and death are related to God. She will know of this fact. The essence of the poem is, in the first stanza, the poetess calls herself the innocent child of God, and she feels pride in taking birth from his breath. She then suddenly has the extreme desire to learn about the two great mysteries of life and death. She thinks that if God reveals her the laws and mystery of life and death, she may get ready to bear the bitter experiences of life as joys and sorrows. Next, she asks God to bless her with both pleasure and pain. She wants to experience both of these emotions, pleasure and pain, in her life. She prays to God to allow her to feel everything in world, all life's delights and discomforts at the most intense levels. She craves or desires bliss in life, but she is also ready to bear every pang or pain of strife or struggle in her life. She asks God not to hold back any of the griefs or delights she desires or craves, the bliss of love and life, which in turn enhance our life. But she also wishes to know the deep secrets of the grave. She wants to know about life after death. She is delighted about it because she knows that the soul might not have to come back to deal with the worldly issues. The knowledge of the grave is mystic because what happens after death, no one knows about it. God listens to her prayers and replies back to her in a low and hard voice. He promises to her that he will pay attention to her requests and will bless her soul with the knowledge of extreme joy and extreme pain, both at their peak. The poetess will be disciplined about these intricate or complex emotions. God informs her that after having experienced all the love, comforts, and highs and lows of life, her soul would not be satisfied, but it will crave to be released from the blind prayer. Then, drained and forgiven, her soul will beg to learn about peace instead of passion. It will want to know how to leave the fire and flame behind, the burning and cleansing, and simply experience quiet or peace. God says that after that she will not think about the passions, she will think or wish to achieve salvation. At that moment, God will show her the way by coming down from the high sky and showing her the meaning of His grace. Where the sun has never shone, there is also light, that is His light. At last, the poetess finds solace in the knowledge that life and death are only the two faces of God, His light and shadow. Thus, the poem concludes with a belief that life and death are interlinked between one another, but they reflect each other. So, the poem has the themes of life and death. The poem very well discusses the two extremes of life and death. Life and death both have their laws which are administered by God, and no other being can ever understand them. But the poetess wants to be a part of this life cycle. She wants to understand it, and God promises to her to bestow His knowledge on her. The poem also deals with the theme of joy and pain. Both these emotions are contemporary and are experienced by everyone in their life. The poetess accepts these and craves for these emotions. The word usage of thy breath in the second line of the poem is impressive, as the poetess writes, O thou who made me of thy breath. This word usage explains that each breath represents a state in our being. As we inhale or exhale, it means we have life, and the poetess thinks that this life has been given by God to her. The poetess uses juxtaposition in many lines of the poem, as she writes, life and death, joy and pain, bitter, sweet, bliss, pang of strife, gift, grief, lore of love, and pains, stern, low, rapture, and despair. So, these are the words that have been written simultaneously as juxtaposition. The poem also presents the spiritual belief that purity does not come at low price. We must endure the difficulties in life. The message of the poem is that pain clinges like a flame and purges the dross from our desires. The fulfillment of desires is not the end of life, but to get salvation. Life and death have been compared with light and shadow, inhaling and exhaling, joy and pain. The structure of the poem is divided into 7 stanzas, each of 4 lines. The rhyming in each stanza is an alternate one. Alliteration has been used in the poem. The poem is in the form of an address to God and is a religious poem.